Well, hey there. Good morning, Brickheads. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope your week is going great. You did it. You're halfway through. And you know what? I'm going to help you get through the rest of it by giving you a Wild Card Wednesday episode this week, and more specifically, a set review. And I really like set reviews because it just gives me a chance to look at just some fabulous Lego and share those either older crazy sets with you, or maybe the new sets have just came out. And today is all about a new set. But hey, before I get into that, I do just always want to say thank you. You know, whether you're tuning in on your favorite podcast platform, or maybe you just like checking things out on the YouTube page, no matter how you get this episode, no matter how you enjoy it, I just appreciate it. I just, always want to make sure I say that, because you, the viewer, that's why we do this, right? That's the important part. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. But today is Wednesday, and I have a very new set, honestly, to share with you today, and that is set 21362, the Minerals Collection. Okay, so this is number 70 in the Ideas theme. I was sitting, just at home relaxing one night. It was kind of funny. My wife and the kids had gone to Target. They're home away from home and doing what they do at Target and getting way too much stuff. And I have been really busy lately. So every night has been filled with literally something to do for my regular job. And it's been fabulous. It's been wonderful. I have loved it, but it's just been insanely busy. It just is what it is. And so I had one available night, recently this past week, where I could just relax. And it was funny. My wife and kids came home from Target and literally just plopped the this Ideas mineral set collection in front of me. Like, no, hey, we're going to plan on getting this set. Hey, no, we're going to go to the Lego store, or anything like that. They were just at Target and they're like, oh, your dad would really like this. Let's get it for him. My wife's love language is gift giving. And so I'm very lucky in that category for sure. So like I said, I had one available night. I'm like, I'm just going to put on some TV, build some Lego, and this was perfect. Yes, I have a lot of sets in my backlog that I needed to build, obviously, first, but it just is a cute set. I was like, it's 880 pieces, perfect for a nice little night of building. And so today, I'm going to share that build experience with you, maybe give you a little bit of history on each of the amazing minerals that are in this set, and then at the end, just give you a set review score. And when I give you a set review score, I do it on four main things. So I do it on playability, the displayability, the build experience, and the value. And basically that will give you an overall number that lets you know, as the listener or the viewer, if this set is worth your time, and more importantly, if it's worth your money. So here we go. Let's get into it. Like I said, I got to, build this set just very recently. It came out in October. Okay, so literally October 1st, 2025, this set is all of 1 month old. It came out, and not only can you find it online or at the Lego store, but hey, it's being carried at Target too. So if you don't have a Lego store near you, you can go to Target and get your own copy. But as I said, it's 880 pieces, and it is on sale right now for $60 USD. Which comes out to only 6.8 cents per piece. And now granted, again, this is not an IP set. This is not a set that has a lot of big pieces in it. There are some unique pieces, which I'll definitely talk about, and a lot of transparent pieces in various colors, which I'll talk about. But overall, it's the right price for the set that you're going to get. So again, it's $60 and available right now. I don't know, obviously, a set like this, it's kind of interesting how long it will be out. We always say 2 years is a good rule of thumb for a Lego set, but something like this, honestly, it's a wild card. And I say that because it's a Lego Idea set, right? So it is going to have that initial popularity, but it's super niche. Like, there's a lot of people out there right now that are looking at it going, rocks really don't do it for me, Steve. I'm good. Hard pass. Me, on the other hand, I'm a rock hound. I love rocks. Yes, I have a rock collection. Yes, when I was a kid, I was that kid who had a huge rock and fossil collection. I loved it. And I love being able to look at those amazing rocks, those amazing minerals. And it's just like, it's always so impressive to me that Mother Nature, as always, can just produce something so unique and amazing given time and pressure, right? And so, yeah, I've always been into rocks. So when this came out, I know my wife was like, oh, he wants that immediately. So yeah, there you go. Um, this set was designed by Dario Del Frente. He is out of Madrid, Spain. And you probably know how Ideas works by now because if, you're tuning into a Lego podcast, you should know about Lego. But if you don't, basically Ideas works in a designer, just like you or me. When I say designer, just anybody, honestly, you today can submit a Lego Ideas set, like submission, to the Lego Ideas site. And then what it happens is it's crowdfunded. If you get 10,000 votes within a 365-day period, your set can go to Lego for an official review. And there have been a lot lately. I actually just talked about this in Monday's episode. A record number of Lego sets getting approved and a record number of Lego sets that are reaching 10,000 votes. It actually makes me wonder if one day soon they'll up that threshold from 10,000 to maybe 15,000. I don't know, but we had like 146 officially in this last period where they got the 10,000 votes and a record, 5 plus the Downton Abbey that just got approved. And so there are a lot of Lego sets out there right now, a lot of Lego Ideas sets that are slated for the upcoming months. And so if you're interested in that and want to know more about that, just go to the Lego Ideas website. The other thing you need to know about Lego Ideas is that they tend to really mess with and modify the designer's design versus the final piece that gets on shelves. And one thing I actually really enjoy about this particular set is that the designers didn't do much to it. They did change things up a little bit, and it just always happens. There's always some changes that are going to happen, but like the Amethyst is a little bigger than the fan design. The Watermelon Tourmaline, it does look a little bit different. The Tangerine Quartz is definitely modified a little bit, but it didn't change the flavor of the set itself. And sometimes in a Lego Ideas set, it's not like you have the original design, like the Goonie ship is a good example of this. It is, the idea is there, but it was pretty drastically modified. And I don't know, sometimes it's for the better. Many times it's honestly for the better. Sometimes it's definitely for the worse. But I will say for the minerals collection, in this particular case, the changes, albeit, are pretty good. I have zero complaints with how the Lego designers modified these in particular. So anyway, I think that's a testament to the designer himself. Like usually the better the design, a lot of these design changes can be structural. A lot of them are within the color, palette that they're using. And so for them to make a little bit of change, that's actually pretty cool. All right. But beyond that, I guess you're looking at it going, is it a good build? Was it fun to build? Because when you look at it, a little bit of it honestly looks a little repetitive. And yes, the build itself is a little repetitive because besides the actual 6 minerals that you see on display, like any good museum display, you have to build stands. And so it came with, I believe, 7 bags? And each bag, you're building a stand as well as the 2 minerals that are going on that particular stand. And the stands themselves, they look pretty good. They come apart from each other, so they actually are just pressure fit. So you can display the stands as one unified piece, or you can switch it up and have them look independent from each other, which I really like. I like the fact that they didn't hem you in to making one long display. In this case, you can literally, if you just want to display your tourmaline and your pyrite, you can do that. And then the displays themselves, two of them are the exact same, literally the exact same build, but the wood, quote unquote, wood display in the middle that houses the rhodochrosite and the amethyst is a different looking display. So it does give you a little bit of variation, but it does try to capture that museum vibe of what you would expect to see, because it's not only the brown pieces that are used to simulate a wood stand, but you also have the clear glass pieces. I say glass, but the plastic pieces that are clear, transparent, and those are supposed to simulate the glass that the pyrite would sit on, or the minerals would sit on. And in addition to that, they add a little bit of flair here, which is nice. You've got little 1x1 pearl gold elements that capstone each, I say capstone, that's the wrong word, they have on each of the corners, and it just makes the display feel a little bit fancier, a little bit more refined. But hey, Steve, what are the actual minerals that are on display? Well, hey, I'm glad you asked. We have 6 of them on display. And let's see here, I want to say bags 1 and 2 were the watermelon tourmaline. And above it, I have sitting the iron pyrite, also known as fool's gold, which we'll talk more about that. In the middle of the display, we've got the red on the bottom, those crystals, that is the rhodochrosite. And then up top, we've got what most people would recognize. That is the geode that is housing all of the amethyst. And then on the left side, in the bottom, we have a tangerine quartz. And then on top, we have the fluorite, which I will talk about each individually. And I'll come back to first the watermelon tourmaline and the pyrite. I went ahead and listed some fun facts for you. First off, I didn't know much about watermelon tourmaline. I know a fair amount about amethyst or pyrite or fluorite, things like that, because again, as stated previously, I'm a nerd. You can see if you're tuning in on the YouTube page, I don't just have the Lego set. I have actual pieces of amethyst, regular quartz, and actually some iron pyrite embedded in quartz on display as well. Like when we go on, when like there's a summer road trip or something, or you go into the mountains, like I remember we went up to see, in South Dakota, we went up to see Mount Rushmore one time and checking out the caves, Cave of the Winds and all those kind of things. And I saw like those mountain towns, there's always a rock shop, and I'm a sucker for a rock shop. And so like I bought a piece of smoky quartz there, which was really cool, or like this regular piece of quartz. I just love it. The piece of amethyst actually to the side, that was a gift from my grandpa. And so I've had that particular piece of amethyst for over 3 decades now. And I love it. Again, like I said, I'm a rock hound. I'm a nerd for it. I totally dig it. I just think it's gorgeous. It's beautifully displayed. And so this is definitely in my element. But getting back to the watermelon tourmaline, it's actually lithium and manganese that actually gives it that beautiful color, that pink and green color. And you can actually find this. I wrote this down. You can find it in Brazil. You can find it in Africa, in Namibia, Nigeria. You can find it in Asia, in Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka. And believe it or not, you can actually find this and mine this here right in the United States, in both California and Maine. Of all of the minerals you're seeing displayed, this is probably, in terms of like jewelry, the most expensive. So you can go anywhere up to like $400 a carat for this particular mineral. It's also a pretty hard mineral, and so that's also important when you're talking about jewelry. So for example, fluorite is not very hard. It is a soft mineral. You're not going to get jewelry out of it, but with the watermelon tourmaline, you certainly can, and it makes for a pretty cool looking jewelry piece. Necklaces, earrings, things of that nature. So I like the watermelon tourmaline. I would tell you, in terms of the Lego build itself, It was probably my least favorite of the build. I think it's interesting. I like the color variation on it. I like that you can see the greens and the pinks. But in terms of like nerdism, how does it excite me? I was like, all right, that's fine. And I'm glad, honestly, it was like the first one to build because it just simply got better as we went. Now, moving up to the top, we've got iron pyrite, also known as fool's gold. Fool's gold. Everybody loves it. I'm going to tell you another little fun story. When I was a little kid, it's the 1980s. Good times. As I said, I had my huge rock collection. And I don't know if you remember this, if you're a Zennial or a Gen Xer and whatnot, but you'd go to the local malls and you'd have those displays in the middle set up, those temporary displays. And I remember one time in our mall, they had these people that put up a rock display, like they were selling their rocks and minerals. And it was an older couple. And I'm probably, I don't know, 7 years old at the time. And I go see this really, really cool piece of iron pyrite. And I'm just like, wow, I'm looking at it. And the lady, I will never forget this till the day I die. She comes up, she's like, hey, little boy, do you know what that is? And I'm like, yes, ma'am, it's pyrite. And I'm showing her, she's like, oh, no, that's not pyrite. That's fool's gold. And I was like, really? I actually remember being upset at that. My parents actually, and my brothers at the time, they tell me the story like I came up to them and I was just visibly upset, like, are you kidding me right now? How dare she? And she was like, don't touch it. That's fool's gold. You know nothing. And I was just like, friggin'. So anyway, there you go. I clearly have issues, but pyrite is cool. And it's named pyrite, believe it or not, because you can actually create sparks using pyrite. That's where it gets its genesis, right? I think it's Greek. I think it comes from Greek. But anyway, the Lego build itself is cool. I like it. You use the pearl gold, obviously, for the pyrite. It is a natural choice. But the big cubes, and it's pretty well known for this with the big cubes. I'm going to grab the actual pyrite piece that I have. This isn't a great one, but I have some more cubes in the other room. But yeah, embedded in the quartz. But it's known for that structure, right? And these pieces are actually Minecraft heads, I believe. Hold on, sorry, I'm going to make a bonk. Oop, sorry about that. I had to make a bonk because I was putting the mineral down. It reminds me never move anything when I'm on the table. But these actual little pyrite pieces come together where, like I said, I believe it's a Minecraft head that they've made in pearl gold. So that is pretty cool, I think, too. But beyond the pyrite, let's get to some of the cooler ones. And I'm going to start with the rhodochrosite. Rhodochrosite is the red mineral. It is very cool. The build itself was neat because you have the red crystals that are actually, they make it so they can display at various angles using the Technic little pins in there. But rhodochrosite is actually also found in manganese-rich deposits, and this mineral it's the unofficial mineral of Argentina, but I also researched and found that this is, believe it or not, the state mineral of Colorado, which is cool because I had no idea. The largest piece of rhodochrosite ever mined is called the Alma King, and it was found in a mine in Colorado back in the 90s, and it is on display today at the Colorado Natural History Museum. And so I've seen that. That's really cool. So if you ever want to see a really impressive piece of rhodochrosite, head over to Denver, Colorado, go into the museum there. They have a whole mineral display area, and it's just gorgeous. And you can see the largest piece of rhodochrosite ever created. Again, it's called the Alma King, and so that's pretty neat. I am going to come back to the amethyst because the amethyst is usually what most people know about, and I got a funny story with that. But I'll move over to the watermelon tangerine. Watermelon tangerine. Oh my gosh, what am I talking about? The tangerine quartz. I've got different things on my brain. But the tangerine quartz, okay, so Basically, there's a lot of stuff out there that's just quartz. And you're going to hear people talk about different variations of quartz. Like earlier in this episode, I mentioned smoky quartz. It's all quartz. It's just that there are minerals within the quartz that causes the quartz to change color. And so tangerine quartz is a really good example of this, where iron-rich deposits get deposited within the quartz itself, and that's what gives it that tangerine color. So it's just really kind of cool. You can find a lot of that in Brazil and Madagascar, but very impressive. This is one of those, though, that the Lego design team definitely modified it from the original user design, and I think for the better, okay? So he had originally kind of like two spires, where the Lego design team made it one spire with a little offshoot, which feels to me a little bit more realistic. Like if you're looking at the regular piece of quartz I have, that happens a lot, where you get that one massive piece of quartz and you have all the little smaller structures around it. But above that, you have the fluorite. And if fluorite sounds familiar, it probably should, because, that is the main source of fluorine. Like when you brush your teeth in the morning, that makes it nice and white. Okay, that's what that comes from. Or the phosphorescent, that coined term, if you will, that is where it's coolest, because if you put a UV light on a piece of fluorite, it's going to glow. And it's really neat, honestly. Put it under a black light, put it under a UV light, and you're going to get different types of glow from it, and it's just really impressive. It is a very soft mineral, so it's not really used for jewelry or things like that. That's why people don't really notice it as much, but it is definitely a very useful mineral in life. In terms of the Lego build itself, you actually have a new Lego element that goes with the fluorite. It is a 4x1 brick, kind of comes together in a triangle, and it is done in a blue translucent little element there. And so it is very cool. It was a fun build, and I've never seen a piece quite like that before. So if you like new Lego elements, there you go. That is your little bit of new Lego for you. And then moving back to the middle, which I think is the main display piece, and rightfully so. It's the large geode that has the amethyst within it. Amethyst is a really well-known stone. It's that beautiful purple mineral, beautiful purple-looking quartz, and February's birthstone, I believe. And you'll see this around, usually in like museums, you'll see the large, giant geodes that have been cut open to reveal all the amethyst inside. In fact, the largest piece of amethyst is actually 10.5 feet tall that has been mined and is now on display. But amethyst is really cool. Fun fact, in case you didn't know, I found this out researching this. The word amethyst also is Greek. It comes from the Greek word of amethystos, which means not drunk. So ancient Greeks, believe it or not, believed that they could prevent intoxication if they put it in their wine goblet. So definitely was a choking hazard, I'm sure. But hey, you can drink that much more wine if you just place a piece of amethyst in your wine. So I am not recommending this, but if you try it, leave a comment down below. Let me know, were you able to have another beverage without feeling ill effect? But there you go. There is the history of amethyst, and one that those people that are into holistic medicine, I'll reserve opinion on that. But nothing like an amethyst piece that you could just rub all over your body, and it will release the toxicities from your body. But yeah, it's always throughout history had this legend of medicinal properties that surround it. But in terms of the Lego build itself, it is a really fun build. This was probably my most favorite. It is a combination of the purple and clear cheese slopes. It all comes together within the dark gray geode itself, and it just looks really good. it's a perfect one to have display in the middle because it is the largest of the 6 minerals on display. So there you go. Kind of a fun little, hopefully you're a nerd like me and you're like, oh, I had no idea, Steve. That's a really cool thing. It means not amethystos, right? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. But I do, before I like to finish every set review, like I said, I want to review it. And to let you know, again, those 4 categories: playability, displayability, build experience, and value. So playability, are rocks. You don't really play with rocks. Maybe I play with rocks, but it's more about the display. So playability, honestly, this is not a play set at all. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. It only gets 3 points because you can interchange how you display it. So in that regard, there is some modifications you can make to the set on how you display it. So I guess you could associate some of that with playability. So 3 out of 10 might even be a little bit generous there. Displayability, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect. It is a display set, and it is a beautiful display set. I would have argued maybe you could have made them a little bit bigger, but this truthfully is about a 1-to-1. The actual pieces of minerals I have sitting around, that's about the right size that you're going to see. A piece of rhodochrosite, that is about the right size. These are 1-to-1 representations of the mineral set. So I'm not going to harp on that. I will say, though, at 880 pieces, it's a pretty cool display piece, but definitely not perfect. So 9 out of 10, I think, is appropriate. Build experience. Yeah, it's a little repetitious. But, that is, if you're buying this set, you know exactly what you're getting. I don't think there's an argument there. So build experience, I think, is probably a 6.5. Would have been a little bit lower had they made all 3 stands the exact same, but the variation in the stand ups it for me. And honestly, building the minerals, I thought was cool. I really enjoyed it. And then value. Finally, value. It's under 7 cents per piece, which for a Lego set nowadays, and especially a Lego Ideas set, even at non-IP, that's a fantastic price. So I'm going to tell you value is 10. Excuse me. Value to me, 10. Easy 10 out of 10. $60, 880 pieces. That's a great value. So if you're keeping track at home, if you put all that together, that comes out to about a 7.1 out of 10. Do I recommend this set? Well, if you like rocks, 100%. I love rocks. This is a no-brainer for me. So do I know that this is a super niche set? Absolutely. Do I know that people are either going to look at this set and say absolutely not or yes? Absolutely. But if you have any interest in being a completionist in Lego Ideas, or if you have any interest in just displaying a beautiful display piece, yeah, absolutely. Go get it. And really, if you pay attention, I would imagine about a year from now, this set will definitely get reduced. So you're probably going to be spending even less than the $60 list price than it is now. But you tell me, is this set worth it? Is this set that you'd want in your collection, or is this a hard pass? I would love to know. But with that, I'm going to call it here. Again, thank you for coming along on another Wild Card Wednesday set review. It's been a wild, crazy week in rumors and everything. So make sure, if you haven't, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because I come on every Monday and Wednesday and give you all the latest and greatest. And this coming Monday is another news and rumors. So if you don't want to miss out, join up. So as always, I appreciate you. I hope you have an absolutely fabulous rest of your week. I hope it's productive and wonderful and joyful. And until Monday, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye, guys.